I stood at the back of the luxurious ballroom, straightening my ill-fitting suit. It was my son's wedding day, a day I had dreamed of for 2 decades, ever since his mother walked out and left me to raise him on my own. I worked 2 jobs, fixed toilets during the day, delivered groceries at night. There were winters when the heater broke, and we could see our breath inside the house. But I never let him go hungry. I never missed a parent-teacher meeting, and now here we were, hundreds of guests, chandeliers glowing, champagne flowing, and a 6-tier cake that probably cost more than my monthly salary. I wasn't comfortable in this world, but I was proud, until I saw the nameplate at the family table. Right beneath the golden label that read "Father of the Groom" was my name, followed by a phrase someone had added in mock cursive, written with a gold pen. Low-educated fake dad. I blinked, thinking it had to be a mistake. But then I heard laughter. The bride's side of the family was chuckling. Her father, a retired university dean, smirked. Her mother covered her mouth, trying to hide her giggle. 2 cousins whispered, glanced at me, and laughed even louder. Heat crawled up my neck. I looked around for my son, Jason. He was smiling for photos with his new in-laws, unaware of what was happening. I quietly turned the nameplate over and tried to sit down. But the whispers didn't stop. Then I heard one voice, cold, condescending. "What did you expect? He fixes pipes. Probably didn't even finish high school." My stomach twisted. I stood up, ready to walk out, but as I turned, a firm hand grabbed mine. It was Jason. He looked at me, serious, quiet, but with fire in his eyes. "Dad," he said, "let's go home." I froze. "Jason, your wedding," I said, "let's go home." The music stopped. The DJ froze. All eyes turned toward us. Jason looked at his bride, then her family, and said clearly, "You all just made the biggest mistake of your lives." Then, without another word, he walked out, with me by his side, into the cold night. And the next day, everything changed. Chapter 2. The Man Behind the Curtain. The car ride home was silent. Only the hum of the city filled the air. Jason's jaw was clenched tight. He didn't say a word until we reached the apartment, the same one I had raised him in. As I reached for the keys, he finally spoke. "You know, Dad, I saw it." I froze. "The nameplate?" He nodded. "Yeah, I saw it before you did. I wanted to see what they'd do, whether they'd really humiliate you, the man who raised me on the most important day of my life." He pulled out his phone and handed it to me. It was a video, secretly recorded, the bride's father laughing as he handed the pen to one of the cousins, her mother joking about trailer trash walking among us, and worst of all, the bride herself smirking. "My real father is the man I'm marrying," she said. "That plumber guy? He's just a formality." My heart broke. But Jason, he was calm, too calm. "Dad, I didn't tell you this before," he said, "but I never signed the prenup." I blinked. "You didn't?" He shook his head. "They begged me to. Her father even offered to invest in my startup if I did. But I'd already built something by then, quietly with a friend, a tech security firm." I stared at him. "Last year," he continued, "we were acquired. A clean deal. I made more money than I ever dreamed of. Enough to buy, and bury, their entire company if I wanted to." Now it was my turn to sit down. Jason's voice turned cold. "They thought they were marrying a trophy, a fool they could control. But what they didn't realize is that I had my own game in play. And now, it's checkmate." He opened his laptop and began typing. "Tomorrow they'll learn who they really mocked. And when I'm done, they'll wish they never disrespected the man who raised me." Chapter 3. The shareholder shock the next morning. Jason was already dressed in a navy blue suit, coffee brewed quietly behind him. "Dad," he said, "today they learn who you really are. Not some fake dad, but the man who made me who I am." He handed me a folder. Inside were documents, financials, ownership records. The bride's family business, Westbourne Hospitality Group, a luxury hotel chain, was in serious trouble. And Jason? He'd been secretly buying up their silent partner shares through shell companies. Quietly, strategically. You already own part of their company? I asked. He smirked. Try 48%. And as of 9 a.m. today, I'll control the majority. At 9:15, we walked into Westbourne headquarters. Staff froze mid-call. Faces from the wedding looked pale and anxious. The conference room was packed. The bride's father, Gregory Westbourne, sat at the head of the table, smug as ever. "What's the meaning of this?" he barked. Jason calmly placed a thick file on the table. "Effective today, I control 51% of Westbourne Hospitality Group. Here's the proof." Silence. Then panic. Gregory's face drained of color as he flipped through the papers. You little parasite!" he spat. Jason didn't even flinch. "No, Gregory. I'm the product of the man you mocked, the plumber you laughed at, the real father who worked 14-hour days so I could stand here today." The room went dead silent. "Effective immediately," Jason continued. "You, your daughter, your wife, and your relatives are fired. You'll get your severance in the mail." Gasps filled the room. "You can't do this!" Gregory shouted. "It was your company," Jason replied. "Now it belongs to the man you humiliated, through me." And with that, we walked out, leaving their empire in ruins. That night, Jason and I sat on the balcony, watching the sunset paint the sky. "You didn't have to do that for me," I said. He smiled. "I didn't do it for you, Dad. I did it because of you." Chapter 4. One last knock. 2 weeks later. The takeover hit the news. Headlines exploded. Groom's revenge on in-laws. From plumber's son to power broker, Jason was now being invited to speak at leadership forums. As for the bride, Emily, she vanished from social media. Her family faced lawsuits for embezzlement and fraud. Then one rainy evening, a knock echoed at Jason's door. Emily stood there, drenched, makeup smeared, trembling. "Jason," she whispered, "I made a mistake. My parents pressured me. I never meant to." He interrupted her calmly. "You realize now that the man you insulted owns the roof you're standing under." She looked past him at me. "Mr. Carter, I'm sorry." I raised a hand. "No, you're not sorry for what you did. You're sorry for how it ended." Jason handed her an envelope. "This is a clause your parents signed. It bans your family from ever working with or holding shares in any Westbourne-related business again. That includes you." Tears welled in her eyes. "Please, Jason, can't we just talk?" He looked at her one last time. "You had your chance to talk. You chose mockery over love, humiliation over respect. Now I choose silence over reconciliation." And he closed the door, softly. But finally, epilogue. Legacy 1 year later. Jason launched a scholarship program, the Carter Foundation, for students from blue-collar families. At the ceremony, when the mayor asked what inspired him, Jason pointed to me. "That man, the one who fixed toilets, the one who taught me that real worth isn't measured by degrees or money, but by integrity, resilience, and heart." The applause was thunderous, and for the first time in my life, I felt like the richest man in the room.